Hi, everyone. It's Laura with Rebalance Health and Wellness. Today, I just wanted to go over really quickly the GI-MAP, which is the stool test that we use to look at the gut microbiome in our functional medicine patients. And so I am going to screen share. Let's see. Okay. So this is actually my personal stool test from when I first started, and I've since done the gut protocol. So any of you that know me know that I do all the things that I have my patients do as well. Okay, so this first page looks at pathogens, and what pathogens are. They can be causing some issues, bloating, diarrhea. It really just depends on the kind of pathogen. And these we would most likely want to treat with antibiotics. It kind of depends on what you have. For me, I had the C. diff toxin. I wasn't having any symptoms, so we didn't actually need to treat that. Sometimes it is because the environment is allowing these guys to grow. And then it can cause like a bunch of downstream issues as well. It also looks at the parasitic pathogens and the viral pathogens, so parasites and viruses. The next page is looking at Helicobacter pylori, which we call H. pylori. This is one that if you have it, and have it out of the reference range, we really like to treat it, especially if you're symptomatic. It can also lead to some issues down the road. So this is looking at the amount of H. pylori that I would have. And so we're looking at exponents here. And so I'm below the reference range, and most people will have some in their colon. It's just how much there is. And then if there's any virulence factors, so kind of how aggressive it is. The commensal and keystone bacteria are the bacteria that you want to live there. They really help make up your immune system. They're the good guys. You want to keep them growing. And so you really want everything in the green here. And you can see that a few of mine are over to this overgrowth side, which is the right-hand side. The left-hand side would be, it's a low level, the middle is where you want it, and the right-hand side is high levels. And so this goes over some individual bacteria that are really important for the microbiome. And then the bacterial phyla is really like a bird's eye view of what's going on in your entire gut microbiome. And so it's really like if you're flying over the Amazon, you can like see all the trees growing and blooming. And so what you can see here is that, again, on the right side, it's overgrowth. And so there's a lot of bacteria that were in my gut. And when you look at the ratio, even though it's in the green, it's because these both are high, if that makes sense. And so I would really like to see myself here in the middle in the green, because we're really looking for balance here. This next page goes over opportunistic and overgrowth microbes. So there's dysbiotic and overgrowth bacteria, there's commensal overgrowth microbes, there's some that cause and can secrete some inflammatory substances. And so we really are looking at, why are these here? Is it the environment itself? Is there not enough stomach acid? Are you not digesting your food? And so these are all things that we look at and think about when we're going through these stool tests. It also gives us some information on if there's any fungi or yeast. Candida in particular shows up often. It depends on if you have symptoms, if we need to treat that. And then viruses. So they also look at several different parasites. Some of these are benign, and different worms, and it just kind of depends on what it is and what you're experiencing, whether or not we need to treat it. And then my favorite section here is the intestinal health markers. And so if you look at steatocrit, this is how much fat is in your stool. If you look at elastase, this is really looking at how well your pancreas is secreting enzymes to help with digestion. There's GI markers, so beta-glucuronidase and occult blood. We don't want any blood in our stool. Sometimes if it's low levels, it can be from something as simple as hemorrhoids, which honestly most people have. It looks like the immune response in your colon, so different antibodies and eosinophil activation proteins. We want all of this in balance. And then inflammation. So calprotectin is An inflammatory marker, it typically is very sensitive in the colon. And so this could be from gut inflammation, but also if you have overall inflammation, your calprotectin can show up elevated here as well. And then the last page looks at H. pylori antibiotic resistance genes. And so if you show positive for any resistance to these antibiotics, we would come up with a plan to make sure that you're getting the antibiotics that would cover your specific H. pylori. And so, yeah, hopefully this will help kind of, go through some of the sections so that when you're at your review of findings appointment, it isn't as overwhelming for you. And then if you have questions, always feel free to reach out.